All right, Heidi, we are here one more time looking at adding some specific views, some additional views to cow catcher, the wheel, and the linkage arm. So in the cow catcher here, one of the key problems is that if I went to dimension and I grabbed these two faces, I get this 0.78 dimension. If I grabbed those two faces, I grabbed the wrong one. Let's do that again. If I grab those two, I swear to God I clicked that other one. Try one more time. Third time's a charm. We're going to click this side first. That one and that one. I get 0.97. If I select this one and this one, we're just going to make a mess. 0.074. And the bottom one. One more time. There and there. 0.097 as well. Now, I know when I made this that I did an offset and I did a 0.1 offset. So why are all these dimensions coming up wrong? Well, it is the dimension that you would get if you were looking straight at the front view. And so all of our dimensions need to be represented as looking or as at their true size and shape, or a proportion of our true size and shape. And these are not. These are not showing the true shape here of that cutout, because it's at an angle, and in fact it's at a compound angle. So I'm going to remove all those dimensions. I'm going to try to remove all those dimensions. There we go. And what we need to do is we need to be able to look directly at that face. So the way that we're going to do that is with an auxiliary view. And an auxiliary view is, I'll pull one up here, so it's this button. And an auxiliary view, if you select an edge, it's just going to give you a view that is 90 degrees perpendicular from that edge. So this one looks pretty close, but it's still not right because it's leaned, this face here is leaned back, and we can tell that because we can see the underside edge of this lip. We see the top edge and the bottom edge, and they're lining up, and we can easily see this offset by if we turn on our hidden lines. I leave the hidden lines off for this entire piece because we're going to end up with so many other views. We get everything represented. See, it's taken a while to do this. All the math is on the server side there. It's not on your machine, the drawback of being in the browser. But you see that we've got all these dotted lines around that that cutout, and there's no dotted lines are on the top or the bottom. So the top and the bottom, we're looking right at it. But so that's not the view that we need. I could throw a dimension on here. Let's throw one on there that's remember, this dimension is supposed to be 0.1. Oh, that one is 0.1 on that one. Let me check this one. There's my 0.97 again. I guarantee this is 0.1. I will prove it here later in the video. So we're just going to undo that a couple of times. Get rid of that view even. We don't want that view. So we have to find a face or an edge that we want to turn 90 degrees from. And if you think about it, in some ways we want to be like 90 degrees from this edge, but we want to be like perpendicular so that, like, let me draw a line. So that if that line, which is not perpendicular, was perpendicular to this edge right here, that would be a good starting point. Still not going to give us what we want. And unfortunately, Onshape doesn't quite do that. Inventor does. So I found another solution here. And if we zoom way in here, we've got this one little angle line. And if we think about what's directly perpendicular with that, well, it's this face right here. So we're going to pick that line, and we're going to project off of that line. So auxiliary view, I'm zoomed way in, I'm picking that one little angled line right in there, And then I'm going to come down here, and you see I'm seeing the underside. I could go the other way and see the top side. It doesn't really matter for this, but I have the isometric view up, so I'm going to come down here, and you see that, like, you'll see that there's a direct relationship here. It is only able to come off at a perpendicular from that line, so it's coming down here, or parallel to that line, I guess is what I would say. And now I'm looking like right down that nose. I'm going to turn on the hidden lines on this just a second. Again, it takes a minute for it to come up. But if we think about it, I've got this turned, so I'm looking straight down this line from the bottom. And so this face here, I'm looking straight up that face, and this face here, I'm looking straight up that face, which will allow me to, with one more auxiliary view, if I select this face or this face, I can come off of that view, turn that model 90 more degrees. It's going to come up this way now. And this face, oh, it did take all the parent information. That's good to know. If you put in your hidden lines on the base view and then project off of it, you'll get hidden lines. I didn't know that yet. But now if I took and I put all my dimensions on here, we're going to do all four. Boom, boom, that's 1.00. Boom, boom, that's 1.00. That's 1.00, trust me. I'll zoom out in a second. And that's 1.00. So we are looking directly at that face. We're seeing the true size and shape. Now, do I need all of those? No. So I'm going to delete some of them. I'm just going to leave just whatever the first one was I put on. So we're going to take that one. I'm going to change its location a little bit. Can I drag? Yeah, that looks better. I mean, it doesn't look great. Let me actually see if I can put it up there. All right, so that's the best location for that one. But two things here. When we plugged in our numbers, we didn't plug in 3 decimal places. That's implying more precision than we actually have. So if I double click that, dimension, I can adjust the precision. I'm going to adjust it down to 2 decimal places. And I can either write a prefix in here, like I could put a symbol, or I can write a suffix. And so I'm going to put TYP period on the end of it. In fact, I want to put space TYP because I like to have some breathing room between those. And you see, now that's implying that this border all the way around is 0.1 inches. So it's a lot of work for one little dimension, but that's what's required here. And I'm also, in the previous video, I showed you how to do a broken out section. Well, we don't want to dimension to hidden lines, and that's the only spot where we're going to be able to dimension to that angled, like the depth on that angled face. So I'm going to do another broken out section here, and I want to make sure that I end up with like a zigzaggy in. That one didn't quite work. I can move those points when I'm done here, but I want it to kind of be showing kind of that zigzag, which kind of gives me a visual cue that this part is like I'm showing a broken out section. So I come all the way around to the edge. I think, can I? Maybe I can't grab that. Whatever. So it might take a couple of attempts. Depth of the section cut here doesn't really matter. Just got to get about halfway. So I'm going to say I'm going to do this one blind, and I'm going to type in about half an inch. Hit my checkbox, and you're going to see it's going to cut away that closed section, kind of perform a cut, and then I'll have actual kind of object lines that I can dimension to. And so I could dimension from this object line. I'm going to do that point, and that way I'm kind of measuring from both of those, and I've got a little bit of that line going onto the part itself, but that's about the best I can do. Same here. I want to go and bump this down to 2 decimal places. There is a way to adjust your whole document to have 2 decimal places. If you come over here, we can bump the precision down, but the drawback there is when maybe I can do something with trailing zeros. I don't know. I'd have to play with that. When we put in the whole callouts, those are document settings, and I can't edit them individually. So if I do 2 decimal places, there's many of the holes I want 3 decimal places on. So it is what it is. And you see my section, like you see why I wanted kind of like that zigzag to go back and forth. I don't have a great one in here, it's just kind of curved. And this one's showing like a better, it looks better if you have that curve because it's unnatural. And then you go, oh, okay, I see the section lines. I can tell what's going on here. I can turn off this hidden line. So let me see. I said I was going to do the other 2 things, the wheel and the linkage arm in this video. I'm not. There was plenty to talk about just with those 2 additional auxiliary views and the broken out section here. Make sure you put in all your other dimensions. That was me just